The kitchen light buzzed like a trapped hornet, casting harsh shadows across the linoleum floor in our cramped house in Dayton, Ohio. I dropped my purse on the counter, my feet aching from a 12-hour shift at the data center where I monitored network security for Apex Tech. It was mid-January, and the cold had a way of sneaking through the drafty windows, making everything feel brittle. "Emily, you're finally here," my stepfather, Greg, grunted from the table. He had that look, the one where his jaw tightened like a vice. Papers scattered in front of him like evidence of some crime I hadn't committed yet. His fingers tapped impatiently, a rhythm I'd come to dread over the 15 years since he married my mom. I ignored the chill in his voice and headed for the fridge, pulling out a half-empty bottle of water. "Long day," I muttered, not turning around, but I could feel his eyes boring into my back. My mom, Sarah, hovered by the stove, stirring something that smelled like overcooked pasta. She didn't look up, her shoulders hunched in that familiar way, like she was bracing for a storm. "Sit down," Greg said, not a request but an order. I hesitated, but complied, sliding into the chair across from him. He shoved a stack of forms toward me. "I need you to sign these. It's for my knee replacement. Doc says it's now or never. Cartilage is shot from all those years on construction sites." I knew about the knee. He'd been limping dramatically for months, always right before asking me to help out with bills. But as I scanned the papers, my stomach twisted. Not just medical payment plans, but a $40,000 home equity loan with my name as the primary borrower. And below that, a personal loan for $20,000 labeled for rehabilitation equipment. Bullshit. I'd seen the brochures for that new SUV in his truck last week. "This isn't just for surgery," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Why am I the borrower? You have your own credit." Greg's face darkened. "Because your job's stable. Tech pays good. And family helps family. Your mom's on board." I glanced at her. She nodded faintly, eyes fixed on the pot. "I'm not signing this," I said firmly. "We can find another way, Medicare. A payment plan's in your name. But not this. Not $60,000 on my head." The silence stretched, thick and dangerous. Greg stood up, his 6'4" frame filling the room. "What did you say?" I repeated it, slower this time, my heart pounding. And then it happened, fast, like a crack of thunder. He lunged, grabbing my arm and yanking me out of the chair. I slammed into the edge of the counter, pain exploding in my elbow as something gave way with a sickening pop. I crumpled to the floor, gasping, cradling my arm. Through the tears, I saw my mom standing there, wooden spoon still in hand, her face blank. "Sign it, Emily," she said softly. "Don't make this harder. He needs the help." "Mom," I whispered, the word choking me. But she just turned back to the stove. "You're being selfish. We raised you better." Greg loomed over me. "Get her wallet. We'll do this the hard way." Adrenaline surged. I scrambled up using my good arm, bolting for the door. The cold air hit me like a slap as I stumbled into the night, the door slamming behind Greg's shout, "Don't come back." I made it 4 blocks to my half-sister's apartment, collapsing on her steps. Lisa opened the door, her face paling at the sight of me. We shared a dad from my mom's first marriage, but she'd escaped early, college on scholarships, a nursing job that kept her independent. "Oh God," she said, helping me inside. No questions, she just wrapped me in a blanket and drove to the ER at Mercy General. The hospital was a blur of white coats and beeping machines. X-rays confirmed a fractured elbow, torn ligaments. The doctor, a kind-faced woman named Dr. Patel, adjusted the sling, How this happen? She asked gently. I hesitated. Then spilled it: the loans, the refusal, the shove. Lisa squeezed my hand. We're calling the cops, she said, while they prepped discharge papers. The billing clerk pulled up my insurance through Secure Health. Her screen froze her smile. MS. Carter, there's a flag on your account. A claim from 8 months ago for hip surgery at Vanguard Billing Services. Address matches your mom's. My blood turned to ice. I've never had hip surgery. What the hell? The clerk's eyes widened. This could be identity theft. I'll loop in fraud. That night, at Lisa's, I couldn't sleep. The pain meds dulled the ache in my arm, but not the betrayal burning in my chest. Greg and Mom had been using my name? For how long? Lisa sat with me, her laptop open. We start tomorrow. Police, insurance, all of it. The next morning, we walked into the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Detective Ryan Hale, with his rumpled suit and sharp gaze, listened as I recounted the assault, the documents, the mysterious claim. Sounds like coercion for fraud, he said, scribbling notes. We'll need hospital photos, statements. And for the ID theft, that's often federal if it's insurance-related. Lisa chimed in. She's got a safe place with me. Hale nodded. File a restraining order. These cases get messy with family. Back at Lisa's, I logged into Secure Health's portal. There was $52,000 paid out for a hip replacement I never had. Procedure date? A day I was at a company retreat in Cleveland, verifiable by emails and witnesses. I called their fraud line, voice shaking as I verified my info. The investigator, Mark Ruiz, sounded grim. This Vanguard isn't a clinic, it's a billing front. They file bogus claims, split proceeds. Your mom's listed as emergency contact. Gave verbal consent. My mom. The pieces fit. Her job at a doctor's office gave her access to how systems worked. The days blurred into a relentless grind of calls and paperwork. I took FMLA leave from Apex, claiming a family emergency, close enough to the truth. Lisa drove me everywhere. Bank, courthouse, back to the detective. At Union Bank, where Greg had applied for that equity loan, the manager compared signatures. This one's off, she said, pointing to a denied application from 6 months back. Lists you as co-applicant, but the flourish on your E doesn't match. Another forgery. Public records search turned up more. Credit card apps, a boat loan, even a small business filing for Carter Health Consultants in my name. Then the threat started. A text from an unknown number, a photo of Lisa's car with keyed sides, parked at her hospital shift. Back off or next time it's you. We reported it to Hale. Intimidation, he said. I'll push for surveillance. But it escalated. 2 nights later, at Lisa's, we heard glass shatter. Someone had thrown a brick through the window. Note attached. Silence or suffer. Hale suggested a DV shelter. Safe haven in Dayton, secure. Resources. I resisted at first. I'm not hiding, but Lisa insisted. It's smart. Eminência. Fight from strength. Safe haven was unassuming outside, a plain brick house in a suburb, but inside, fortified like a bunker. Alarms, cameras, group sessions where women shared stories that mirrored mine. The coordinator, Jenna, with her warm smile and no-nonsense vibe, settled me in. You're not alone. We have lawyers, counselors. I dove deeper into my own probe, armed with a burner phone and laptop. Secure Health sent docs, phone logs showing Mom calling in, using my details to authorize. She knew my SSN. Birth date, everything. Ruiz told me. This is organized. Vanguard links to a ring targeting good credit folks. The emotional weight hit in waves. Nights, I'd stare at the ceiling, replaying Mom's blank face as Greg hurt me. How could she? Love? Fear? Or greed? Jenna in therapy sessions pushed. Betrayal cuts deepest from those we trust. I journaled it all, timelines, suspicions. Then Ruiz dropped a bomb. We've traced payouts. Greg got kickbacks, 15% on claims. Your mom facilitated. Got 5%. They were scaling up. Needed your signature for bigger loans to launder more. Fury built slow, then boiled. I lawyered up through Safe Haven's aid, a fierce attorney named Carla Diaz. We'll countersue for everything: assault, fraud, emotional distress. The FBI got involved when Hale connected the dots to interstate wire fraud, claims crossing state lines. Agent Laura Kane interviewed me for hours. Vanguard's part of a network. Fake procedures. Real payouts. Your case exposes it. They found metadata on forged docs, scanned at a Kinko's. Footage showing Greg with a Vanguard rep. Vance Harlan. Arrests came swift. Harlan first. Raided office yielding servers full of evidence. Greg next. SWAT at the house, Mom watching stone-faced as they cuffed him. She was picked up at work. Patients gaping. I watched from afar via Hale's updates. No satisfaction yet. That came in court. The preliminary hearing was in a stuffy courtroom downtown. Fluorescent lights humming like the kitchen that started it all. My arms still in a brace. I sat rigid as prosecutor Elena Vargas laid out the case. Assault with injury. ID theft. Insurance fraud. Conspiracy. Evidence piled up. Hospital photos of my bruises. Bank records of forgeries. Phone transcripts where Mom said, "She's good for it. Just process." Greg's lawyer tried to spin it. Family dispute. Medical desperation. But Vargas shredded it. Desperation doesn't justify violence or theft. Mom's defense claimed coercion. Greg manipulated her. But texts showed otherwise. Her planning with Harlan. Next claim. Knee for Greg. Use Emily's policy. When I testified. Voice steady. I locked eyes with her. She watched him break my arm and said I deserved it for not signing away my future. The judge's gavel banged. Bail denied for Greg. House arrest for Mom pending trial. Back at Safe Haven. The win felt hollow. Group therapy unearthed more pain. Why didn't she protect me? Jenna nodded. Mothers fail too. Grieve that. Lisa visited. Bringing takeout. You're dismantling their world. And I was. Secure Health froze assets. Clawed back $65,000 paid out. They issued a victim letter. Clearing my credit. Gold for rebuilding. But Greg pushed back. A cease and desist from his jail cell. Accusing slander. Carla laughed. He's suing his victim? Discovery will bury him. The FBI raid on Vanguard uncovered ledgers. Dozens of victims. Millions defrauded. My name was the key. Refusing that night unraveled it all. Agent Kane said, "You fought. Others suffered in silence." The trial loomed. Tension coiling like a spring. Nights. I'd dream of the kitchen. But now I fought back in dreams. Documents as weapons. Emotional damning broke in a session. Sobs for the mom I lost. Rage at Greg's control. Jenna hugged me. That's progress, feeling it all. Opening statements hit like a storm. Vargas painted Greg as predator. Mom as enabler. They stole her identity. Then her safety. Defense countered with pity. Greg's pain-driven desperation. Mom's loyalty. But evidence spoke louder. Experts testified on forgeries, ink analysis, digital trails. Phone recordings played. Mom's voice. Calm. Detailing my info to Harlan. Jury shifted uncomfortably. My testimony was the pivot. On stand, I recounted the assault. Voice cracking at Mom's words, selfish. Cross-exam tried to twist. You abandoned family? I fired back. They abandoned me first, stealing my name for profit. Greg glared. Mom avoided eyes. Closing. Vargas thundered. This isn't family, it's felony. Verdict came after 2 days' deliberation. Guilty on all counts. Greg got 12 years federal fraud, assault, intimidation.
Mom.
5 years conspiracy,
Theft.
sentencing. Greg begged. I needed help. Judge unmoved. Not at her expense. Mom whispered. Emily. Forgive. But I walked out. No glance back. Post-trial. The world shifted. Secure Health settled. $150,000 for trauma, plus cleared records. I moved to a new apartment near Lisa, secure building. Fresh start. Back at Apex. Colleagues applauded my resilience. Therapy continued. Scars faded. Emotional ones slower. Revenge wasn't flashy, it was methodical. Reports filed. Truths told. The ring collapsed. More arrests followed. I volunteered at Safe Haven. Sharing. Fight with facts. Silence empowers abusers. One evening, on Lisa's balcony, coffee in hand, I deleted old contacts. Sunset painted the sky. A new chapter. Was justice enough? It left questions. Could Mom change? But I was free, name intact. Life mine. In quiet moments, I wondered about forgiveness. But for now, survival sufficed. The system worked because I made it. And that was power.